You can tell the difference between a compliment that wants something and a compliment that sees something. And women, they feel that difference in their bones. Some compliments bounce off. Others sink in and stay there. It's not about the words themselves. It's about the weight behind them, the intention, the energy that travels with those words from your mouth to her mind. There's something about compliments from men who've lived long enough to stop performing. They don't sound like strategy. They sound like testimony. Like the difference between a sales pitch and a documentary. One is trying to convince you. The other is just showing you what's there. Today, I'm breaking down 8 compliments that hit completely different when they come from a man who's moved past needing to impress. But here's what matters more. I'll show you exactly why they work at a psychological level most people never see. But first, you need to understand why most compliments fail before they even leave your mouth. It's not what you think. Most men think a compliment is supposed to spark something, interest, attraction, validation, some kind of reaction that proves it landed. That's the trap. The second a compliment reaches for a reaction, it's already lost. Women don't just hear words. They scan for the energy behind them. Is this person trying to take something from me? Are they performing for me? Or are they just noticing something real? Female intuition isn't mystical. It's pattern recognition honed over thousands of interactions. Women subconsciously evaluate whether a compliment is extractive, wants to take attention, validation, sex. Whether it's performative, wants to impress for ego, status, approval. Or whether it's observational, wants nothing, just sees and acknowledges. Older men stumble into effectiveness not because they have better words, but because they've stopped hunting for outcomes. That shift in energy, women feel it before you finish your first sentence. Keep this framework in your mind as we go through each compliment, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The first compliment, I notice you don't apologize for taking up space. This isn't about physical space. It's about existential space. Her right to have needs, opinions, boundaries without justification. Most women spend their entire lives in a subtle negotiation with their own existence. From childhood, girls are socialized to be accommodating, small, considerate. Make yourself smaller so others can be comfortable. Apologize for having needs. Soften your voice. Don't take up too much room. That conditioning runs deep. When a man notices she's broken free from that, it validates a war she's been fighting quietly for years. A war most people never even see because it happens in the small moments. The automatic sorry when someone bumps into her, the hedging language before she states an opinion, the constant recalibration of how much space she's allowed to occupy. Younger men often feel threatened by women who take up space. Older men recognize it as strength. They've seen enough of the world to know that women who refuse to shrink themselves are rare and valuable. And being seen as strong, not despite your femininity but within it, that's a compliment that changes how a woman sees herself in your presence. The second compliment, you have an interesting mind. I like the way it works. This doesn't compliment her intelligence. It complements her type of intelligence, her unique mental fingerprint. Women are constantly evaluated on appearance, personality, agreeableness, rarely on the architecture of their thinking, how her mind processes information, how she connects ideas, the specific way she moves through problems and arrives at conclusions. There's a specific kind of loneliness that comes from being admired for everything except what you actually value about yourself. When everyone compliments the surface and nobody sees the engine underneath. When a man finds her mind interesting, not clever, not educated, but genuinely fascinating in how it processes reality, it hits a hunger most women don't even name. Because it says, I'm not just attracted to what you look like or how you make me feel, I'm drawn to how you think. Older men deliver this naturally because they've stopped equating attraction with simplicity. They're not looking for easy anymore. They're looking for depth. And depth requires a different kind of attention. Intellectual recognition creates intimacy faster than physical attraction ever could, because she knows you're listening to what she's not even saying out loud. The third compliment, you carry yourself with quiet authority. This acknowledges she doesn't need to prove she's in control. She just is. Authority is usually gendered masculine. Loud, decisive, dominant. Women who lead quietly get overlooked or dismissed. Their competence questioned. Their power invisible to people scanning only for noise. There's a specific exhaustion women feel when their competence is constantly questioned or tested, when they have to prove themselves repeatedly in rooms where men's authority is assumed from the moment they walk in. When a man sees her power without needing her to demonstrate it, that's the rarest form of respect. It says, I recognize what you are without you having to perform it for me. Young men often miss quiet authority entirely. They're scanning for noise, performance, obvious signals. Older men have learnt to recognize power that doesn't announce itself. The kind of authority that moves through calm presence, through decisions that don't need defending, through a steadiness that holds the room without demanding it. And respect, real respect, builds attraction in ways compliments about beauty never will. Because respect says, I see you as an equal, not a prize. The fourth compliment, I appreciate that you're direct. It's rare. This isn't praising her communication style. It's thanking her for making things easy. Women are socialized to soften, hint, cushion, manage men's emotions while delivering information. Don't be too blunt. Don't hurt his feelings. Don't make him defensive. Wrap criticism in praise. Lead with validation. That emotional labor is invisible and exhausting. Most men don't even realize it's happening. When a man notices and appreciates directness, he's signaling, you don't have to manage me. I can handle honesty. You don't need to translate your thoughts into something more palatable. You can just say what you mean. Younger men often feel attacked by directness. They hear feedback as criticism. They experience clarity as aggression. Older men recognize it as efficiency and trust, because directness means she respects you enough to be honest with you. And the moment a woman realizes she doesn't have to walk on eggshells around you, that's when real connection becomes possible. If you're noticing a pattern here, you're paying attention. None of these compliments are about what she looks like. Not one. No compliments about her smile, her eyes, her body, her energy. Because physical compliments, even genuine ones, put her in evaluation mode. They remind her she's being assessed. They place her back in the oldest dynamic women know. Being looked at, being judged, being reduced to what can be seen from the outside. These 8 compliments work because they acknowledge her as a full human, complex, capable, choosing her own life. Attraction isn't built by praising her attributes. It's built by seeing her wholeness. The next 4 compliments go even deeper because now we're moving from what she does to who she is. The 5th compliment. You've clearly done your work. This isn't about therapy or self-help. It's about recognizing she's met herself honestly and didn't run away. Emotional maturity isn't a given. It's earned through discomfort, reflection, humility. Most people avoid the work of becoming self-aware. It's painful to see yourself clearly, to acknowledge your patterns, your wounds, your defaults when you're triggered, to take responsibility for your part in the breakdowns. When a man sees evidence of that work, her self-regulation, her accountability, her lack of blame, he's seeing scars that turned into wisdom. He's seeing someone who's been through the fire and came out shaped differently. Only men who've done their own work recognize it in others. Young men don't even know what to look for. They haven't done the excavation yet. They're still running from themselves. And being seen as evolved, not perfect, that makes a woman feel safe to be real. Because you've already signaled you can handle complexity. The 6th compliment, you don't perform. I find that magnetic. This celebrates her refusal to be entertaining on demand. Women are trained from birth to be pleasant, agreeable, entertaining, to manage the room's emotional temperature, read the energy, adjust accordingly, lighten heavy moments, fill awkward silences, make everyone comfortable. That performance becomes so automatic, many women forget they're doing it. When a man notices she's dropped the performance and prefers it, that's permission to be human. It's saying, I don't need you to entertain me. I don't need you to be on. You can just exist next to me without producing anything. Younger men often need women to be upbeat, fun, light. They're uncomfortable with stillness, with contemplation, with the full range of human mood. Older men are comfortable with silence, tiredness, the moments when someone just needs to be quiet. The most attractive thing a woman can be is unself-conscious, because it means she trusts you won't punish her for being real. The 7th compliment, I respect the boundaries you keep. This isn't tolerating her limits, it's honoring her self-knowledge. Women's boundaries are constantly tested, pushed, negotiated against, often by people who claim to care about them. Just this once. It's not a big deal. You're being too sensitive. Don't be difficult. Boundary setting becomes a battlefield. Women expect resistance, defensiveness, guilt tripping. When a man respects boundaries without explanation, it's so rare it feels revolutionary. No questions, no pushback. No subtle resentment that leaks out later, just clean acknowledgement that she knows what she needs better than anyone else could. Young men often see boundaries as rejection, personal affronts, obstacles to overcome. Older men see them as self-respect, and self-respect is attractive because it means she won't lose herself trying to keep you comfortable. Respecting boundaries doesn't create distance, it creates trust, and trust is the foundation of everything that matters. The 8th compliment. Being around you is easy. That's not common. This isn't about her being low maintenance. It's about compatibility of nervous systems. Most relationships are work. Managing conflict, decoding needs, maintaining performance. Walking the tightrope between honesty and hurt feelings. Translating what you mean into what won't trigger defensiveness. Ease is the rarest commodity in modern connection. Most people drain each other. When a man names the ease, he's saying, you don't exhaust me, you restore me. I don't have to brace myself around you. I don't have to edit my thoughts before I speak them. I don't have to manage your reactions to my existence. Older men have been drained by enough complicated relationships to recognize when something just works. When the baseline state isn't tension that occasionally relaxes, but relaxation that can handle tension without shattering. And ease, real, unforced, mutual ease, is what makes people choose to stay. Not passion, not intensity, just the comfort of being yourself with someone who feels like home. Now here's where most men sabotage everything. They use compliments like currency. Say the right thing, get the right response. Transactional thinking. The moment you compliment someone to get something, validation, attraction, reciprocation, the compliment becomes manipulation. And women, they have finely tuned radar for this. They can feel the hook inside the bait because now she's not receiving recognition. She's being negotiated with. You're not seeing her. You're working her. Older men succeed not because they have better compliments, but because they've stopped negotiating. They observe, they acknowledge, they move on. There's no expectation attached. No invisible contract where she now owes him something in return for being seen. These 8 compliments work because they come from a place of fullness, not emptiness. Men who need validation can't give genuine compliments. They can only trade words for attention. They're too hungry to see clearly. The maturity shift happens when a man stops starving for proof he matters. When his sense of worth isn't dependent on how women respond to him, that's when he can afford to see clearly. Because he's not looking for his reflection in her eyes anymore. He's just looking at her. You can only give to others what you already have yourself. So before you use any of these compliments, ask yourself, am I seeing this quality or am I hunting for a reaction? Because women know the difference. They always know. If this video felt different from typical dating advice, there's a reason. It's not teaching you what to say. It's teaching you how to see. Compliments that want something versus compliments that see something. That's the divide. Attraction doesn't come from saying the right words. It comes from being the kind of person who notices what others miss, who pays attention to depth, not just decoration, who values substance over surface. And that kind of perception, it can't be faked. It can only be developed through experience, through your own work, through enough years of mistakes and repairs that you finally learn to see people instead of projecting onto them. Older men don't attract by performing confidence. They attract by embodying clarity. And clarity only comes from having been confused enough times to finally understand what matters. Drop a comment. Which of these 8 compliments resonated most with you? Not which one you'd use, which one you'd want to receive, or genuinely mean, because that answer will tell you something about what you value. If you want to understand human psychology at this level, the kind of insight that changes how you see every interaction, subscribe. This is just the beginning. We explore the psychology beneath attraction, connection, and what makes people choose each other. Not tactics, not manipulation, just truth.